All right. So the main card of UFC 308 got announced a couple days ago, and I'm going to be going through and giving my reaction to every fight that got announced. It is a completely stacked card to the brim, and is up and runner, if not the best card of the year, in my opinion, including UFC 300. It's blatant favoritism for Abu Dhabi and the Middle Eastern market, and it's irritating since we have all these horrible fight night cards in the U.S. all the time now. A bunch of horrible main events when every single fight on this card could be a main event for a fight night and bring some real hype back to Apex fight nights and stuff. But instead, we're just going to get a super stacked card every once in a while in Abu Dhabi, which is fine, but it's just a little annoying. And there's some matchups on this card that annoy me, but we will get to that when we get to it. So first up, we have Rafael dos Anjos versus Jeff Neal. I think, looking at this matchup, Jeff Neal is going to beat him. I think Rafael dos Anjos is too old. Jeff Neal's given a layup. And I think Jeff Neal's just going to knock him out early, probably, and get some momentum back for himself. But I don't think Jeff Neal's going to go anywhere anyway. So I don't know. If Rafael dos Anjos wins, it'll be interesting, but he's not going to. So I doubt. It's going to be whatever. Next up is Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige's performance against Diego Lopez was a lot more impressive than Lerone Murphy's performance against Edson Barboza. I think Edson Barboza is old and he's still really good. Like, he's still formidable, but he's getting older. And the Lerone Murphy, I think, should have been able to finish him at some point if he really wanted to show that he was good enough to beat Dan Ige. Because Dan Ige, on like an hour's notice, took Diego Lopez to a decision, arguably won the third round pretty clearly. And Diego Lopez is now fighting Brian Ortega again for the number 3 spot. And I think Dan Ige is probably going to make Lerone Murphy quit making it a dogfight and eventually just overwhelm Lerone and take away his undefeated record. I think that's what's going to happen. And I like Dan Ige a lot, so I want him to win. And yeah, I think Lerone Murphy's going to have to catch up after this. Next up is Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. It is very interesting that Magomed Ankalaev isn't fighting for a title shot. I really wonder what they're going to do with Pereira next. If not for Magomed, are they going to send him up to heavyweight? It would be super interesting. But Dana White is dick riding John Jones right now, and he said that Tom Aspinall would be next. So if they are doing the Tom Aspinall Pereira matchup, then Dana White isn't happy about it, is all I'm assuming. And either Hunter or someone else is pulling the strings, and Dana doesn't have as much power as we thought. Because otherwise, I don't know why we would think why Pereira would be other plans besides Magomed Ankalaev, because he arguably earned it. And Rakic is coming off a loss. I don't think he needs to fight Rakic. But I'm going to go with Rakic, actually, in this one. I think that in order to beat Rakic, you kind of have to do what Yuri did and overwhelm him, because he has really good striking and low kicks, and Magomed doesn't deal well with low kicks. And I think Rakic is good enough wrestling to keep it on the feet. And then I think Rakic will take it away from there and beat up on him. And I don't like Magomed, and I want him gone. I'm glad he's not getting a title shot. I don't know. His attitude towards the Pereira fight and wanting to wait till October to get it is really annoying and dumb. So I think Rakic is going to send him back down the rankings, and he'll never get a title shot ever, which is really funny and deserved, in my opinion. So next up, the feature fight, Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I think if anybody's been improving since their first fight, it's Volkov. Volkov has looked way better in his last couple fights compared to Cyril Gane's no fights, because he isn't active at all. He's shooting movies and ducking everyone in the heavyweight division. So I think Volkov, after what he did to Sergey Pavlovich, is going to make this one a lot more competitive on the feet. And I think just activity and overall, like, just improving as a fighter all the time, I think Volkov is going to be able to get this one done. I think he's grown in size, and I think he took what Pavlovich had for him. I don't think Cyril Gane's going to be able to implement his game plan this time. I think Volkov will get him. And I want Volkov to win really bad too. So I'm glad that Volkov is getting this matchup, because Cyril Gane doesn't deserve to fight up. He doesn't deserve to fight for the belt or anywhere higher than him. He should be fighting. I think he should be fighting Charlton Almeida or something that'll just kill him, because I hate Cyril Gane. He's so annoying and dumb. But I'm glad it's Volkov, because I think Volkov will beat him. I think he'll beat him up. And next, the co-main event, they rescheduled Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev, which I think is insane to do that after Robert weighed in, fought Ikram Aliskerov, knocked him out in the first round in spectacular fashion, and he's rewarded with Khamzat Chimaev instead of a title eliminator or a title shot, and he gets to fight another Dagestani and hope, or not a Dagestani, he's Chechen, fight another hardcore Russian wrestler, and then maybe he'll get a title shot, even if Strickland's in line still. I think that's the obvious matchup, Robert Whittaker versus Sean Strickland. But Strickland's being a little baby and won't fight anyone. So Robert Whittaker, I guess, was stuck with this matchup. But it's just really annoying, I think. But my opinion of this matchup has changed in the rebooking. I thought Khamzat Chimaev was going to be able to kind of push the pace in the first round and take Robert down and submit him in the first. I thought Khamzat would have had that ability when they first got booked. But after the performance Robert had against Ikram, I think that changed my mind a little bit. He took him out easily, and Ikram took Khamzat. It took Khamzat a couple rounds to beat Ikram, even though it was by TKO, by uppercut as well. But it just, Robert showed that he deserves a spot and is good enough to beat these guys. And I think Khamzat, after being deathly ill for the 50th time, is probably going to have gas tank issues, and I think Robert's going to be able to keep it on the feet. And if it goes past this first or second round, I don't think Khamzat's going to have the cardio to keep up with Robert, and he definitely won't have the striking to keep up with Robert. So I'm gonna take Robert Whittaker. I like Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's funny and riles a lot of people up, and it's interesting. He is apparently a crypto scammer, so that sucks and is horrible. But this matchup is between two of my favorite fighters, so this one will be a toss-up for me, opinion-wise. But I think Robert Whittaker is going to kill him eventually. But Khamzat always has that first-round blitz that he can utilize, so we'll see. But then the main event, Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. I'm glad they made this fight. I think Volk needs to rest longer, or at least I think he should fight for the belt next against the winner. But that doesn't need to be right now. Volk needs to wait a little bit. I need him to come back at full strength, in full preparation, because I don't need to see him get knocked out again. That would be horrible and break my heart. But Ilia versus Max is a super interesting matchup. Max Holloway doesn't do well against these shorter fighters. He does great against people his size in that he can range strike and just beat up and outbox. But Ilia Topuria has good grappling and is shorter, and Max Holloway's only real featherweight losses in the last 10 years are to a short, stocky striker in Volk, who also has good grappling. So I think Ilia is – this one's tricky, but where I'm sitting right now, I could change this pick, but I think Ilia is going to find a way to get a decision. I don't think he finished Max Holloway, but I think Ilia will be able to get in the pocket and put hands on Max Holloway and eventually wear him down a bit in order to finish the fight. But I don't know. That's a pretty interesting fight and is a worthy main event of a lot of cards, of every card. But the fact that they put in Abu Dhabi is a little annoying. They stacked this card so much, and it's just, I don't think it's warranted for what for the talent. It's just unfortunate that we have all these shitty cards in the U.S. and then Abu Dhabi gets this amazing event, and it's just annoying. But it's whatever. It's a great card, and I will happily watch it at 5 o'clock or whatever time it's at. And yeah, I think that's all. I think those are my picks. And I'll probably switch them around at some point as it gets closer, depending on what I'm feeling. But I think that's where I'm at right now. And I think that's it. So we'll see. I'll see you soon.